Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to check out World of Warcraft. Now when the War Within came out, I played the campaign and then kind of stopped playing. Season 2 I completely missed. Season 3 I started to get back into it and I leveled up my rogue and I started looking at professions, engineering and mining. I wonder, is it still worth it today to go through the older areas and the older recipes, and is there any way of actually having some fun and making some money? Also, just to be clear, this is not like one of those challenge videos making like as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time or a gold guide. I don't actually have a clue how to optimize gold making, especially with professions. I could use Kit because he already has engineering and just go and start learning the classic stuff. And I'm gonna do that anyway. I already started looking into that a little bit, but I want to do kind of a nice clean slate. So what I did is I created 2 new characters for this. One druid, Mineralics, which is going to be our miner and gatherer, and probably herbalism. So mining and herbalism we're going to go with. And then we have our crafter, Tinkerix, which is going to be sitting in the city and focusing on engineering. I did get both characters to level 20, so we can actually use the flight form, and we're probably going to have to level them up a little bit more anyway to learn the higher levels of engineering, or if we go into a different area like Kata or Shadowlands and we're going to have to learn other things and we have to be a certain level, it's going to be very easy with druids. They also shapeshift very quickly, that's why I prefer them. The main thing I'm interested in is what can you still sell on the auction house, what is it worth it, and we have some fun in the process. Now while this is not going to be a challenge, I do want to constrain myself a little bit, and that is that pretty much any resource that I need for crafting in engineering, I want to be able to gather myself. The only thing that I really want to buy myself from the auction house later on is bag space plus the reagents bags, because this just gives us more storage, end of story, so we don't have to go as often to and fro. But otherwise, we won't be buying any ingredients that we need for engineering from the auction house. Of course, some of the things that we need to buy from the vendors, we will buy. And we sell things to the vendors as well that are just not worth selling on the auction house. I'm not sure if this is going to make a difference, but we are going to get ourselves a herbalist spade and a mining pick so we can equip them here. There we go. We have the mining pick in here, and here the spade for herbalism. If that helps us in any way, great. Now I've done a circuit now and spent about half an hour doing this now. So we're going to send this over to our engineer for now. And we're just gonna sell the trash to a vendor. Mogra. Now we're on my other character right now, and we have to learn engineering.
What do you want?
Here's all the items that our gatherer sent us over. And looking at our crafting window, we can see that we can make 96 blasting powder. We're only gonna make a few of them, and then we're gonna see if we learn a new recipe, because we don't have to craft everything. There is no first crafting bonus in classic, so we're just gonna craft what we need. There we go. It actually goes green on 30.
Well,
so let's see what we can take. And one thing I completely forgot is to turn all my copper ore into copper bars. Copper balls, they sell for about between 4 and 5 gold, and there's what 6,500 sold a day, so we should have no problem making any money with that. But to craft them, we actually do need an anvil and a blacksmith hammer. There is no anvil here, oddly enough, so blacksmith hammer we get from here. Okay, oh, what is this? This is an engineering recipe. Ooh, as soon as we have money, we have to get that. Now the next crafting recipes we're gonna unlock at level 50, so let's just do as many handful of copper balls as we can until then. So we're just over 50 now. I'm just gonna keep crafting this for until level 60. And now that we're level 60, let's see what else we can unlock. Boosted crude scope. Let's have a look at these things.
You ever need anything?
We unlocked
you know where to find me.
Spanner, which is actually a tool for us anyway that we need. So this one here is a crude scope. A crude scope, only about 5 a day. It doesn't really have a lot of sell value. We might again only craft it just to get the 3 points from it. And then we have the rough boomstick. We could actually craft this as well, and again, just to get the 4 points, that would actually allow us to level up quite quickly.
Tenubala.
So this guy over here sells the wooden sticks. We have to be careful not to spend too much. Let's get 2. Not to spend too much, so we have enough money still to actually post things on the auction house. And we're gonna craft 2 of those. And then we craft... Oh, we need the Arclight Spanner. All right, let's get the Arclight Spanner. We might as well craft it, get the 2 points for it. and then we can equip it. Here we go. It would have been cheaper to buy it from the vendor, but we might as well craft it. And now we can craft the crude scope as well. And now we're at level 73. Let's see if there's any new recipes. If not, we might actually just do more boomsticks. Now we're gonna get into the next tier of ore and stone. So if we look at this, this is coarse blasting powder and then coarse dynamite. So let's buy another 1, 2, 3 maybe.
Farewell.
And then hopefully if this doesn't go yellow or loses the 4, we get to 85. Ah, okay, we lost it now. We're gonna have to level up here with the rest of the blasting powder. Okay, so rest of the materials we're gonna do is a handful of copper bolts, and then we're gonna list them in the auction house and see also at what point we can go and gather the next tier of ores. Now for the fun part, if we look at the crude scope, it's selling for 18. And the same for the boomsticks. Now with the boomsticks, nobody's gonna buy this. This is gonna, if you're lucky, you buy it, but it's 0.012 sales per day. But you can see it has a disenchanting value of 2 gold and 47. So what we could do is we could list it for 175. Now let's list our copper balls and then our blasting powder. So I just did another 40 minutes on copper and we have 179 copper bars and we have a few more herbs. Now I went over to Ashenvale now for tin because we will need a lot of bronze. The only recipe for coarse stone is coarse blasting powder. So we're just gonna do as many as we can until this goes green. Now if we have a look at our mailbox now, all the stuff that are listed sold. Now, the rough blasting powder I had to list, I think, about 5 or 6 times because it kept constantly getting undercut. And the handful of copper bolts, of course, they're sold very quickly. I had to list them, though, twice as well because they were undercut very quickly as well. So let's open all this. And that means we now have 308 gold, which is not bad at all. Now that we have a little bit of money, I'm actually going to buy the recipes if they're still there, even if we can't use them yet. It's Steam Tonk Controller, because they're limited and I don't know how often they refresh. And then we have the red firework. And we even were able to utilize the last bit of our linen cloth to make some coarse dynamites. Oh, look at that. We got clockwork box. Disassemble the clockwork box to improve your skill in engineering up to a maximum of 125. The flying tiger goggles, they're probably, they're not going to sell quickly. They're 0.31. We're still gonna list the ones that we craft. We can craft 2 of them. They give us 5 experience. That is actually really good. And then we're gonna do the target dummies. Yeah, I decided to craft some clockwork boxes first before I do the target dummies, and now they went from 2 to 1 on yellow, but we have enough boxes now to actually get us to 125. So basically the clockwork boxes are 2 per craft. Now we have a good few new recipes. We have bronze tubes, deadly blunderbuss, large copper bomb, standard scope, the lovingly crafted boomstick, the small bronze bomb, heavy blasting powder, so that would be the next orb stone, I guess, and then heavy dynamite, and a wiring bronze gizmo. The wiring bronze gizmo does sell for about 5 gold. Then the bronze tubes, oh, that's about 13 gold. So why don't we make the 1 bronze tube for now, just so we can make the standard scope. So let's just do the rest as bronze tubes and the copper bolts, and at least then we have something that could potentially make us some money on the auction house. And we're just gonna queue up the copper bolts, and then we're gonna list all that on the auction house and see what the next recipes are that get unlocked. So we now unlocked a few more recipes: the silver-plated shotgun, the ornate spyglass, big bronze bomb, a bronze framework, aqua dynamic fish attractor, explosive sheep, a gold power core, and green tinted goggles. The bronze framework does sell 140 a day, and it does make a tiny bit of profit if you would buy the raw materials, but we don't have medium leather, so we're not going to be able to get into that. The gold power core, not bad at all either. Just needs gold, which we're not at yet. Then we have the explosive sheep, which actually sells at a surprising 104 in average a day. Yeah, and the rest are still high value, but very low sales rate. So here, I think out of the next set of recipes that we unlocked, the bronze framework is kind of good, but I think we're gonna stick with the bronze tube instead to use more bronze when we get it. Let's list what we can. The Flying Tiger goggles, 33. We're gonna list both of them. 12 hours. We're probably gonna get undercut. At least the deposit is cheap enough. Same for the standard scope. And the dynamite. The dynamite, we're actually just gonna vendor. Then we have more bolts. That would be 459 gold if they're selling. Very nice. Then we have the tubing as well, the bronze tubing, which is 13. Only 22 silver deposit. If they all sell, there would be nearly 1,000 gold. The price 1339 looks like a bit low, but it is already 148 above market price. So I think 1,000 gold would be nice. We're just gonna trash the coarse dynamite and oh, the coarse blasting powder I forgot to list, and also the ruined metal parts which came from the boxes we crafted, so we can vendor trash that. But we can see the schematic for the red fireworks. Actually, we can learn now. So let's learn the red fireworks and see if we get anything useful out of the red fireworks. They actually give us a level up, and if we have heavy leather and heavy blasting powder, we would be able to craft them as well. And they give 3 red fireworks. They sell 55 per day. That's not bad. So I've just been in Foralis for a bit of a grind, getting some iron ore, which you convert into iron bars, alongside with some heavy stone and some gold and silver. I'm gonna run out of space and I can't hold everything, so we're gonna stop by this bag vendor here who's selling thick hide packs, and the money we earned so far, we're gonna spend some of it on some bigger bags. Nice, they're only 14 slot, but having 3 of them now means we can actually pick everything up from our mailbox. So it seems that gold bars are only usable for gold power cores, so we might as well craft all of them. They only sell about 127 a day, which is not bad. We can still list them. So far, we even sold all our scopes, and they were only up to like 16 a day and 5 a day, and we actually sold both of them. Now, just like the previous stones, you're only going to use the stone to make the powder, but unlike the previous powders, this one actually is worth some money. There's not much more we can actually craft to get some level ups, except for the wiring bronze gizmo, and we need 2 more points only before we can unlock the next recipe. So fingers crossed the 15 wool will be enough to get ourselves to levels. We already have 159, so 1 more. There we go. We're gonna learn iron strut, and we're gonna craft a few of them. I think the next recipe is at 170. Hopefully this will stay yellow until then at least. Okay, we just passed 170. The recipe is green now, so let's see what we get next. A gyro chronatum. Gyro chronatum. Something like that. And that new recipe actually utilizes the gold power cores and sells 115 average a day. We're at 190 engineering now, so let's see what we can get. Compact harvest reaper kit, gyromatic micro adjuster, iron grenade, solid blasting powder, solid dynamite, accurate scope, advanced target dummy, and big iron bomb. Okay, I'm able to make some iron grenades, and then oh, we have silver contacts here. We can craft some more silver contacts. So the silver contacts are not going to give us any more levels, but the big iron bombs could give us a few more levels. And then maybe we get over 200. That would be great. And that brought us up all the way to 208. And that is pretty much it. Now we do have some leftovers here. We have some copper bars left. We're going to do our copper bolts from that. Then we have some bronze bars left. Let's make some more wiring bronze gizmos just to have some variety. And I'm gonna craft a few more of those clockwork boxes, and the rest we're just gonna turn into bronze tubes as well. And then the leftover iron bars we're gonna turn into iron struts. Now I don't think they will sell, but we're gonna list obviously the big iron bombs, the iron grenades. They had a very good price here for a while. I wonder what is the actual real price. So if you go into TSM and you go into browse, so you can see that the 5 gold was actually a 900% increase in price. So we are absolutely fine posting it at that price. So we're gonna have the bronze tubes, which again are selling very slowly. I did sell some in the past, but they are keeping getting undercut.
Then we have the gyro, which has about 100 sales a day, so we might get lucky on that. The iron struts, we post them as well. They also have an okay sales per day rate, and then we have the handful of copper bolts, which usually sell quite quickly. The clockwork boxes, I hope they're gonna sell. It's always good for other engineers, I suppose, who doesn't want to go and farm the resources. And then we have the bronze gizmos. And then we have the heavy blasting powder, which we're gonna sell for 338. There's a big jump again, so let's have a quick look. Yeah, so that's already at 476%. So I think we probably should be listing these at 2 gold, and then probably get either the flippers and the people who want to use it. But let's try it at 338, though. I think it's very unlikely. It seems a bit low, yeah, because of the big price jump, but we're okay with that. Now, let's actually have a look and see what we sold so far, again, since the last time we opened the mailbox. Now, we did sell 100 copper bolts, and we did sell in total 35 bronze tubes. The coarse blasting powder actually sold as well, and the standard scope, which has like a daily sales rate, I think, of 16. So we're very lucky with the scopes that we sold them all. So here we go, and we have now 1,134 gold. So the next recipes that we're learning is all about Mithril now. And we can see mage weave cloth, so we're gonna have to find an area where we can hopefully farm mage weave, as well as in the same zone get some Mithril bars. Mithril troops, they actually could be quite a seller. Unstable triggers, they sell quite a lot. Wow, but we do need mage weave cloth for that. And we have use for solid blasting powder. That is great, because so far all the blasting powders that we made, the different ones, we ended up making so much that we're never going to use, so we had to sell them on the auction house. Being able to actually use them now in something that sells quite well on the auction house, that is great. So Mithril could be a very good gold maker. We had a very interesting run throughout the Badlands and got a few herbs. I mainly focused on ore, so we got over 250 bars, we got 320 solid stones, we got a little bit of true silver, some more gold, and we even found a couple of copper as well. Now, besides using some of the older stuff now for our older recipes that we found, like the copper ore, which is pretty quick, we're also gonna make the gold power cores, so that gives us a little bit of variety to put on the auction house. We're also gonna be turning all of our solid stone into solid blasting powder, but mainly what I want to use it for is to make unstable triggers. Now, we will be crafting a couple of mithril tubes, just again to see how quickly they move at 600 average sales per day. Let's check what new recipes we have. Mithril casing, oh, mithril frag bombs, spell power goggles, deep dive helmet, rose colored goggles. I am glad I waited until I learned the new recipes before I made the mithril tube, because this is the 600 per day average, but this one sells double that in average per day. So I think we should be using some of the mithril bars to craft more mithril casing. Now let's see if any of the new recipes we unlock will be something to sell or make money with. High explosive bombs, green lenses. The high explosive bombs will give us some levels, and we're probably gonna have to use them. And the green lens does have a hefty price on it, but at 0.008, I would say that is a very niche sale. Let's just try to keep going with the mithril casing, which is definitely better for selling and making money than the high explosive bombs. We might have to craft more than 10 or so to get there, but it is the better alternative, I think. And there we go, 250. And the next recipes will be for the next set of materials, which is dense stone and probably thorium. Yeah, thorium widgets. Yeah, so thorium is what we're gonna have to do next. Let's vendor trash the silk cloth. We're not gonna use that. And list what we have
what do
here
you
now.
want?
Golden cores, unstable triggers, mithril casing, a few copper balls. They're always a good seller. I'm just doing my round in Winter Spring to get some thorium ore and the dense stone. We found an enchanting recipe as well, but this guy here actually sells 4 classic engineering recipes, so we're gonna buy them right now. They're 1 gold, 2 gold, 1 gold 60, and 1 gold 20. We're just gonna collect them and send them over to our engineer. We're just gonna craft all the dense stone into dense blasting powder. Oh, we have more thorium recipes actually, okay. Rifle, oh, thorium widget. Let's see what that sells for. And then the true silver transformer. Oh, there's another recipe for a true silver. 1 gold 60, 1 gold 20, 1 gold 60, 1 gold 20. We're just gonna collect them and send them over to our engineer. We're just gonna craft all the dense stone into dense blasting powder. Oh, we have more thorium recipes actually, okay. Rifle, oh, thorium widget. Let's see what that sells for. And then the true silver transformer. Oh, there's another recipe for a true silver. The thorium widgets, they're definitely worth it though, especially seeing that they have a sales rate of about 21,300 in average a day. And one of the recipes that we bought in Winter Spring also is something we can learn now. I don't think it's going to be a money maker, but still, it's nice to have them. There was the Gyro Freeze Ice Reflector. Okay, this is a trinket that actually reflects a frost spell back at the caster for 5 seconds. That is pretty cool. Now we're gonna craft all the thorium widgets. We're also now past level 275. We're at 290 right now, which means you can read all these recipes. Masterwork target dummy, also low sales rate. Powerful thorium charge. Does have a good sales value, but not as many sold per day. That's actually a part. 26 per day at 180 approximately. That's not bad. Arcanite bar, iron web, spider silk. Have to look into that. And then we have the steam tonk controller. That has an extremely high sales value, but very, very low average daily sold. We have a few more recipes to go. Spell power goggles. Oh, fused wiring. Is that a new part? Parts. I love parts. And a thorium tube. Thorium tube. That has an okay sales rate per day. Fused wiring. 2,300 at 4 gold a pop. That actually is a lot of copper bars. Like, you would be much better off doing your copper bolts for that. Now to finish off the thorium era, let's craft all of these thorium tubes, and hopefully that will get us to 300, which means we have maxed out classic engineering. So we're just too shy of 300, and there's nothing we can learn anymore even at 300 except these specialized recipes. So these ones are gnomish engineering or goblin engineering recipes. I think there's a quest chain to Naris, and then you can pick one or the other. You can't have both, but you can see here they give you some gear, some helmets in this case, or you can make recipes or patterns for other professions. There's also things like nice little utilities like rocket boots or goblin jumper cables, for example, that have a chance to bring a dead ally back to life. There's a lot of fun little toys. I don't think any of them are big money maker these days, because parts seems to be really where the money is at. So let's list a few things that we crafted in the end. Thorium widgets, the thorium tubes, and the dense plastic. I think the dense plastic powder we just vendor. Yeah, it's 3 at the auction house and 2.5 at the vendor, so we're just gonna vendor trash them. And it's now been approximately a day later, and every single thing we've crafted throughout the leveling process is now sold. So let's have a look and see what we ended up with. So we ended up with 5,400 gold just throughout the leveling process, using all the resources and crafting all those items to either level up or to craft them for sales. Now, since the mail opening, I've been playing around more with classical engineering and tried a few things out, crafted more things, but in the end, I think it just comes down to the parts, and that is really where the money is. There is a lot of items which sell for more, don't get me wrong. There is, for example, the Snowmaster toy, which goes for about 900 to 1,000 gold. There is the World Enlarger toy, which also sells for about 8,000 gold on the auction house, but they have such a low average daily sold, you probably will take several days or even weeks before you can sell any of them. So if you want to just farm for an hour or two and then craft tons of items that have a higher likelihood of selling, I would say these favorites are definitely the ones I would go for, which would be in the copper era, the handful of copper balls, of course, in the iron era, which also has the gold veins that you can get where you farm the iron veins. I would say the gold power core and the gyros. And then when you come to the Mithril era, just plain and simple Mithril tubes, the unstable trigger, and the Mithril casing. And then when you get to the Thorium era, I would say Thorium widgets and Thorium tubes. Now, 2 of those recipes, as you can see, they have cloth, but wherever you farm those Thorium ore, you're also going to find mobs that drop the rune cloth, and the same for, of course, the Mithril bars. Wherever you mine Mithril ore, you're going to get mage with cloth, most likely. Now, you also might notice I skipped bronze, and that is just bronze. You have to sacrifice copper to make bronze. And you have the addition of tin that you have to farm. So there's the extra farming and there's the sacrificing of copper. So I would say just stick with the copper bolts. Next, we're going to have to pick a second profession for our herbs. And it's going to be alchemy or inscription.
I'm gonna go with Inscription because that is what I started with when it came out originally. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm just curious, you know, if it even is worth it in Classic to do classical Inscription. I also had a quick look through Cataclysm Engineering, and I think if we do another video about the next era of engineering like Cataclysm, we might have to do multiple eras in one video. Cataclysm seems very short. There's also not a lot. I mean, most of the recipes that you have for Cataclysm will be trinkets, toys, items, gear, weapons, anything that basically has a high sale value and will take forever to sell. So we're still gonna level it up, but it just means that we might have multiple per video, and we might go into Cataclysm going straight into Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King. We play it by ear. But of course, next, Classical Inscription. We'll see if it's going to be worth it, similar to Classical Engineering. I hope so, because it used to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, of course, I'm going to make some money with this, so we have a little bit of a bankroll to fund possibly a gold sink if Classical Inscription is not going to be worth it, but it should be fun either way. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you guys had a good time with the episode. If you did, remember to kick that like button in the balls, and I hope I see you guys in the next video. And if you're new to the channel, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Until then, as always, viel Spaß and happy gaming.